Pioneer fans, Pioneer men's Varsity Lacrosse is live and on the air. We are live here at Hallway Field where it is Pioneer men's Varsity Lacrosse taking on Canton as this is the first home game of the season for Pioneer. First game of the season for Canton. Pioneer did have one game beforehand. They actually had a home game that was scheduled for all the way back on the 20th of last month, but that had to be postponed. I believe we had actually snow that day because, it is spring here in Michigan. We just had a little hail during the JV game, so you gotta love that. They did play Livonia Stevenson at Livonia Stevenson. That on the 21st away game. That was a 5-4 win by Livonia Stevenson. So one loss on the season for Pioneer men's varsity lacrosse. Again, Canton, as we take a look, Canton, this is their first game of the season. They have not played anything before that. Next game for Pioneer is going to be in 2 days. Fridays, it's going to be Skyline coming in. So a big early matchup between two crosstown rivals. So we'd love to see you here. Love to see as many people cheering on the team as they will be. They'll have Skyline here on the 5th. Then they have a bunch of home games to start off the season. Then they have a big road swings kind of in the middle. So it starts off here, Canton. Then again on the 5th versus Skyline. That's a 6 p.m. game. On the 8th, they host Huron. CTN will be here as well for that one. That's a 6 p.m. game. On the 13th of this month, 11:30 game versus Northville High School. Then on the 15th, they are playing versus Bedford. Then they go on the road for 3. They're at Skyline on the 19th of this month, at Chelsea on the 20th, and at Father Gabriel Richard on the 21st. One home game kind of put in the middle there. That's the rescheduled Perrysburg game. That is going to be on the 25th of this month. That will be at 6 p.m. I'll have to update my schedule on that one. I know we have a baseball game that day too, but we'll do our best to be here. Then they have just a big road swing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games on the road. The 27th of this month, they'll be at Grosse Pointe South. 30th, they'll be at Huron. 1st of May, they will be at Saline. 4th of May, they'll be versus Rochester. 6th of May, they'll be at Bedford. 9th of May, they'll be at Tecumseh. They have home game versus Saline on May 14th, and then they go right into the regionals. So kind of a loaded home schedule early on. We'll do our best to make sure we have at least all the home games and try and fit a couple road games in there as we are able to. We do want to thank all the wonderful, amazing sponsors of Pioneer men's lacrosse. That includes platinum sponsors: Edward and Schaefer Orthodontics, Franklin Templeton, Gago Center for Fertility, Gago Specialty Eye Institute, Ganger Dermatology, Germain Honda, Grease Shaver Dentistry, Nothing Bundt Cakes, Venue, and Winsler Gear. The gold sponsors are Anderson Paint, Ann Arbor Made, Charles and Marion Klesson, Coach and 4, First Martin Real Estate, Gordon Hamilton Building and Design, Ingersoll Rand, Jen Rosenberg Consulting, Knights Southside, Linda Forrester Realty, PLG, Blue Jays, Ron's Garage, Ceci Mazda, State and Liberty Clothing, Underground Printing, and Allergy and Immunology Associates of Ann Arbor. Silver sponsors include Adam Eichner Realty, Deb Onum Stern Real Estate Agent, Lewis Jewelers, Orange Theory, York, and the Marley family. Let's play a few messages from the MHSAA. We have about 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes counting down before we get going here.
Sportsmanship has never been more important between the lines in athletics and outside those lines in our communities. To listen, to respect, to understand, to practice common decency, to have competition without contentiousness. Sportsmanlike qualities are essential components of life itself. Let's all work together to not only be good sports, but good people. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Have we gotten to the point where at some high school game that an official has finally had enough from coaches, players, and adults, pulls off the whistle, and offers it to you? Let's hope not. There's no way you could do a better job. It's on everyone to promote good sportsmanship. So before you blurt something out about that next close call, consider this. Without the officials, nobody wins. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Nearly 2,000 of the state's top student athletes will be recognized for excelling academically and in school activities through the MHSAA's Scholar Athlete Award, underwritten by Farm Bureau Insurance. The applicants will be in the running for a total of 32 $1,000 college scholarships. Application materials are available exclusively online through the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Health concerns in high school sports go beyond physical injuries. The mental well-being of our young people is a hotter topic than ever before. The Michigan High School Athletic Association website has resources to help adults and students recognize potential problems and deal with them in a positive way. You can learn more about these mental health resources on the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. A message from the MHSAA promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Can you go anywhere and find an endeavor in society where we've come to accept and tolerate an adult, and even kids, treating another adult the way we allow spectators, coaches, and players to treat a high school game official? Can you? No one has the right to abuse game officials. So before you blurt something out about that next close call, consider this. Without the officials, nobody wins. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Here are 5 more good reasons for multi-sport participation. Multi-sport athletes are more coachable. They have higher athletic ceilings. They become better talent in the long run. They have higher sports IQs. Their sport skills transfer, and they are better teammates. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Here are 5 good reasons for high school multi-sport participation. Fewer overuse injuries, less opportunity for emotional burnout, exposure to different kids and coaches, exposure to different roles, and learning to compete better. Being a multi-sport participant can help a kid become a more well-rounded person. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Where can you find good information on all kinds of topics related to the well-being of our student athletes? Check out the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. Learn about multi-sport participation, heat and hydration, cardiovascular resources, as well as insurance benefits available for our students. It's all on the Health and Safety page of MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
The love of the game draws us to sports, as players, coaches, spectators, and officials. For officials, it's a way to stay in the game they once played, to feel the thrill of putting on the uniform, stepping out of the playing surface, hustling to make the call, and building the relationships which can only be built in sports. If you still have that love for the game, we always need new officials. Register now at MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
JV game before this, Pioneer beat Canton 9-4 in the junior varsity contest. Varsity hoping to follow suit and try and beat Canton as both teams are moving over to the sideline. We'll have the national anthem coming up, and then we'll have our opening face-off momentarily here. As everyone's getting lined up across the way. Good crowd here. Lots of Canton fans in here. Pioneer fans filing in as well. Game time temperature 44 degrees here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, the playing of the national anthem.
Responsibility to promote respect and equality for all. Let's unite in those efforts today as we join together in the singing of our national anthem. Please stand if you are able and move your hands.
As we are getting ready to go here from Hallway Field. Again, the sun has now come out. It was a little cloudy there. We do have some clouds just to the left. Had a little hail just for a moment there because it is spring in Michigan. So what are you going to do? But 44 degrees game time temperature here. As the officials come out to midfield. Both teams gathered up across the way. Pioneer in their home whites, with the numbers on the back and on the front. Pioneer and block lettering across the front, predominantly black helmets out there with the block A's on it. Canton is in their red uniforms, red tops, red bottoms, red helmets, numbers in white on the front and on the back, and Chiefs on the front. As Canton heads out, now Pioneer heads out onto the field. As they will have all of the starters lined up across the way. So out there is Friedman, Audi, Price, Sanders, Wolf, Paul McDonald, Greashaver, Conley, and Houston out there for Pioneer. I'm going to try an effort to figure out 18 and 30 here, because I don't have them on my roster. So we'll figure out what we can do with that. Give me just one moment. As we are about to get going. Low in to take the face-off. As Wolf on the other side. Paul McDonald on the far wing, joined over there with Wasenko. On the near wing is Sanders. Right there with Hornets. As again, early games, some of the numbers we don't get. So Bosemko comes over to the near side, Hornish over to the far side for Canton. The officials going over, talking to both squads. Houston in the goal to the right. Played goalie for Pioneer men's varsity hockey all season long. Conley, number 30 for Pioneer, as well as Grieshaver back on the defensive side. We'll talk about the offense in just a moment, but here comes the faceoff as that's taken all the way back to the restraining line, back to try and get that ground ball as that's raked up by Hornets. Hornets coming down the far side for Canton through the neutral zone. Hornets stumbles, loses an edge. That ball down, still manages to keep it in the cross. Picked up as Lowe has it for Canton. Lowe coming between the hash marks in midfield area. Lowe coming down on the near hash marks and a whistle. As a flag down on the far side. As the officials talk things over, point things out. Looks like it is going to be Pioneers' ball. I did not see a signal that they made. Sanders will have it for Pioneer. They're going to bring him right over midfield. Just outside the hash marks. Now Latch will come and pick it up. So Latch will rake it up right about the 45-yard line. This Pioneer set to go on offense the first time. 11:37 left to go. As Latch over the restraining line, over down on the far wing. That's sent right back behind. Over to Friedman, send it out in front. Sanders with a shot. That block knocked down. As that pulled down on the near wing by Canton for Bosenko has it, trying to get to the midfield. That over to Schmaltz. That ball popped down on the ground. Ground ball, trying to rake it up. Friedman in there. Trying to come away with it. Excuse me, that's number 30. Now that picked up by Hornish into the offensive zone. Flips that over, picked up, coming down with it. Number 18 for Canton goes underneath the restraining line. Don't have that on my roster. Going right back behind the Pioneer goal from the near side, the far side. Canton coming and firing it in as Canton gets it first. It's a Canton goal at 10:51. It was number 18 with it. Rockhart.
10:51 remaining in the first quarter.
So 1-0 Canton with the lead. Rockhart with the goal. Face off right at center. Wolf. Again in to take the face off for Pioneer. On the other side is Yavaiden. Set on the blockades as that ball raked back as Yavaiden has it, knocked away. That's a yard sale. Cross on the ground, picking it up, coming down the far side is Wolf. Wolf over midfield. Wolf racing down outside the numbers, spins with it. Wolf trying to get over the restraining line into the offensive zone. Wolf takes it, flips it back over to Latch. Latch has it just top of the offensive zone. Latch waits for substitutions to come in. Latch fires it all the way back. That will go out the end line. Trying to get it back to number 18 in the far corner. That was tipped away. That's going to be Canton ball, 1-0. Canton with the lead, 10:24 left to go. There is a flag over on the near wing. The official picks it up, disregard the flag. Canton sends that. Bringing it ahead is their keeper, Koloje. And fired ahead right at midfield. It's a ground ball raked up by Canton coming down on the far side. Racing ahead with it into the offensive zone. And pulled up by Rockhart. Rockhart over on the near wing. Grabbed into the neutral zone area by Bosenko. Gets it back. Steps over the restraining line and now fires it over on the far wing. And it's sent over there by Yavaiden. Racing down back behind the goal, trying to bring it ahead is Schmaltz. Bouncing pass, that raked up, coming ahead with it down the far side. Here comes Rez. Rez has that knocked away. Canton gets it right back. Canton Coming down, even with the goal line. That fired right back, picking it up, coming in. There's a shot and a goal. That one by Amos. Canton goal at 9:24 as Amos puts it in, and it's 2-0. Canton with the early lead at 9:24. Wolf back out there to take the face off versus Lowe. Sanders on the near wing. Over there with Bosenko. Over on the far wing, Paul McDonald with Hornis. Face off, spinning around, trying to get that raked up as Lowe has it for Canton. Lowe coming just inside the numbers, down the near wing. Lowe flips it over the restraining line, gets that over to Schmoll. Schmoll holds on to it by the numbers. Schmoll over the restraining line, flips that over to Nielsen. Nielsen coming down the numbers on the near wing. Nielsen being watched by Paul McDonald. That flipped back behind the goal. Working back there is Carroll. Carroll from the near side to the far side. Over on the far numbers, Canton sends it back top of the restraining line as that's moved over to Hodges. Hodges over on the near wing to Nielsen. Nielsen coming down the hash marks. Nielsen as that flipped back over now underneath the restraining line. That ball goes over to Schmoll. Schmoll goes over the goal line extended, racing just inside the number. Slips that back right at the restraining line. Picked up there by Amos. Amos back even with the goal on the near wing is Nielsen. Nielsen back to Amos right at the restraining line. Back to Nielsen just outside of the hash mark. Slips it back behind. As that's grabbed there by Schmoll. Schmoll on the number. Slips it back top of the attack zone. Over to Nielsen. Nielsen over on the far wing as Bosenko fires it all the way down. Even with the goal on the far wing, as that's Hodges with it. Hodges comes back into the midfield area. Hodges over to Nielsen on the near wing. Nielsen flips that back over to Amos. Amos right on the numbers, moves it back behind the Pioneer goal. Grabbing it there is Carroll. Carroll comes above the goal line, extended shot, and there's a goal. I believe that was 22 Salowich with it. And it's that at 7:47, Salwich with the goal. That makes it 3-0 Canton here in the first. Martin in to take the face-off. 30 on the other side. Yang on the near wing, joined by Bosenko. Paul McDonald on the far wing over there with Hornis. Trying to dig that ball away. That's grabbed by Lowe. Lowe coming down the near wing. Lowe has it on the numbers, gets it right to the restraining line, over to Schmoll. Schmoll racing down the numbers. Schmoll underneath the goal line extended. Schmoll going from the near side, stops right back behind the Pioneer goal, loses it, and that's going to be in the crease, and that's going to be a crease violation. Pioneer's ball as Houston has it. Houston comes out of his crease, coming down between the hash marks. Houston cradling the ball. He fires it ahead and bounces right at center, picked up by Latch. Latch racing down the hash marks on the near wing. Latch goes over the restraining line. Latch moves back into the midfield area. Latch taking his time, goes between the hash marks. Latch has about 7 yards distance to work with, just outside of the offensive zone. Latch fires it over to Yang. Yang just on the hash marks, back to Latch in the midfield area. Latch over on the near wing, over to Sanders. Sanders fires it back behind the goal. Back there is Friedman. Friedman over on the near wing, back to Sanders. Sanders just above the goal line extended. Sanders trying to work his way between the hash marks. That ball popped up in midair, grabbed by Canton, coming ahead with it. Bosemko with it. Bosemko. And flipped ahead and raked up. Coming ahead with it is Yavaiden. Yavaiden over midfield, coming down outside the numbers. Yavaiden cuts him right over the restraining line into the offensive zone. There's a pass that will go out. The end line, that will be Pioneer ball. 6:14 left to go here in the first. 3-0. Canton with the lead. As that ball fired over to Houston. Houston in his crease. Houston Moves it over to Grieshaber, coming down on the far wing. Grieshaber just on the far sideline. Pressure coming. Grieshaber. Pair of Canton players right on top of him. Gets it over to Conley. Conley moves it over on the near wing. Over to Latch. Latch racing ahead with it. Latch goes into the offensive zone for Pioneer. Latch moves it right back behind to Friedman. Friedman underneath the goal line extended. Moves it over onto the far wing. That's sent back up top as Audi Price moves it over to Latch right at the restraining line on the far hash marks. Substitution coming in for Canton. Latch coming down. Spins with it on the far hash marks. Sidearm shot. That goes out closest to it. Pioneer. Pioneer will retain possession. 5:35 left to go here in the first. 3-0 Canton with the lead. Pioneer trying to stop the goal run by Canton, get one of their own, get it back to a 2-goal lead. As that's pulled in, Miller has it, moves it over onto the far wing to Latch. Latch coming down the numbers on the far wing. Latch sends it back behind. That grab by Friedman, right back behind the goal. Friedman trying to get away from some pressure. Friedman spinning back on the end line. Friedman now races, comes above the goal line extended on the near wing. Friedman gets outside the hash marks, moves that back over. Latch in front. Oh, that shot. Excuse me, that was Audi Price with it. Ball pops up high. That's grabbed back behind as Kolodije has it. Fired ahead. Now Canton coming down the far sideline into the offensive zone. Now flipped back over by Ticini. That'll roll out the near sideline. That'll be Pioneer ball. 4:41 left to go here in the first. 3-0 Pioneer. With the lead, they have it back in their own defensive zone, bringing it ahead. That launched. Now into the midfield area. Latch with it. Latch takes a check. Trying to make his way between the hash marks. Gets a good screen from Conley. Latch over midfield, racing down outside the far hash marks. Down the numbers into the offensive zone. Latch. Now about 10 yards inside the offensive zone. Flips it back behind to Friedman. Friedman. Right back behind the goal. Moves it over on the near wing to Sanders. Sanders just above the goal line extended. That will slip back into midfield area. Popped up. Trying to keep it on the offensive zone. And they're going to say it went over the midfield line, despite best efforts by Pioneer, as that will be Canton ball. 4:10 left to go. This is going to have them start off just inside of midfield. As bringing it ahead is going to be Nielsen. Nielsen down the numbers on the near wing. Nielsen into the offensive zone. Nielsen watched by Yang. That moved back over, trying to bring it ahead. There is Podaraki. Back behind. That picked up, racing ahead with it. There's a shot. Great save by Houston. Another shot from the far wing. Houston with another save. Houston racing down the hash marks over into the midfield area. Houston trying to make his way over, takes a check. He's over the midfield line. Houston coming into the offensive zone. Houston fires it over. That picked up, skied over is Audi Price trying to get the ground ball just on the far side of the goal. Audi Price back behind the Canton goal. Audi Price moves it. Oh, that just over Yang's outstretched cross. That's going to be Canton ball over on their side of midfield, coming ahead with it. Here comes Schmoll into the offensive zone. Schmoll on the near hash mark. Slips that back over into the midfield area, then gets it back just inside the number. Schmoll right at the restraining line. Now comes back into the midfield area. 3:08 left to go. Schmoll moves it over on the near wing, over to Nielsen. Nielsen even with the goal on the numbers on the near side. Nielsen now goes back behind the goal, flips that back over to the far wing. With it back over there. Pulled over now, right between the hash marks, flipped back over to Amos. Amos coming in, fired right back behind. And spinning with it, trying to come around. That is going to be a whistle. Pioneer ball. 2:39 left to go here in the first. 3-0. Canton with the lead. As Houston gets it down to Grieshaber. Grieshaber coming down the far wing. Brought into the midfield area, moved over by Rez. Rez gets it over to Latch. Latch over the restraining line. Latch just inside the restraining line on the numbers on the near wing. Latch now steps back out into the midfield area. Latch flips it over to Sanders. Sanders back behind the goal line. Over to Friedman. Friedman on the far wing. That's sent back up as Audi Price moves it back into the midfield area. Back over to Latch. Latch just outside the hash marks on the near wing. Gets about 10 yards to work with now, racing over the restraining line. Latch cuts down the hash marks. Latch coming in. Latch, even with the goal on the near wing, trying to fire it out in front as that's knocked away. Friedman trying to get it back behind the goal line extended. That will go out, and that is going to be Canton ball. 1:40 left to go. Here in the first, 3-0, Canton with the lead. Pioneer providing big-time pressure back in the Canton defensive zone. And stolen away as coming ahead with it. Friedman with a shot. That goes just a little high all the way back. As closest to it, I believe, was Canton. So that will be Canton ball. 1 minute, 28 seconds left to go. Canton with it as they move it over, bringing it ahead is College right into the midfield area, bringing it ahead is Hornets over midfield. Hornets coming down the near hash marks. Hornets calls out signal, steps over the restraining line. Hornets flips it between the hash marks, racing in. Shot saved by Houston. It's a good shot by Small right out in front. Houston gets it as he has it in the crease. Houston comes out of the crease. 58 seconds left to go in the first. Coming down the far wing and set ahead by Grieshaver now. Audie Price coming over midfield, coming down the far sideline. Audie Price has it right at the restraining line, makes his way over the restraining line. On the numbers, Audie Price between the hash marks comes in. Oh, floats it over. Here comes Friedman with a shot. As that is taken, stolen away by Canton. Good job by College on this save. Popped up high. That ball over on the far wing, loose ball, raked up. Here comes Canton coming ahead with it is Amos. Amos over midfield. Amos floats it over on the far side to get it over to Bello. Bello down, that rolls right into the crease. Plucked up there by Houston for Pioneer. 16 seconds left. Houston has it on the far hash marks, trying to fire it ahead quickly. Here comes Latch. Latch over midfield. Latch racing down the numbers on the far side. Latch trying to get through traffic. That plucked up, 6 seconds left to go. That ball over on the Canton sideline. Whistle with 4 seconds left to go. As Pioneer will be man up. So I did not see the call, but Pioneer with the extra attacker. 4 seconds left to go here in the first. Tough to get a really good shot off in 4 seconds, but Pioneer's going to try and love to try and get a long shot. So Nielsen taking a knee. Waiting for the whistle. There it goes. Flipped over as Miller has it. Miller right at the restraining line, and that will do it for the first quarter. At the end of the first quarter, it is 3-0. Canton with the lead over Pioneer. Let's play a quick message. Actually, let's talk to you about the Pioneer men's sponsors, men's lacrosse sponsors. That includes platinum sponsors, Edward and Schaefer Orthodontics, Franklin Templeton, Gago Center for Fertility, Gago Specialty Eye Institute, Ganger Dermatology, Germain Honda, Grieshaber Dentistry, Nothing Bundt Cakes, Venue, and Winsler's Gear. Gold sponsors includes Anderson Paint, Ann Arbor Made, Charles and Marion Klassen, Coach and 4, First Martin Real Estate, Gordon Hamilton Building and Design, Ingersoll Rand, Jan Rosenberg Consulting, Knights, Southside, Linda Forrester Realty, PLG Blue Jays, Ron's Garage, Sessi Mazda, State and Liberty Clothing, Underground Printing, Allergy and Immunology Associates of Ann Arbor. Silver sponsors include Adam Reichner Realty, Deb Oldham Stern Real Estate, Lewis Jewelers, Orange Theory, York, and the Marley family. I want to thank all the wonderful, amazing sponsors who support Pioneer, and if you could help support them, we would appreciate it greatly. Well, Canton, 3-0 at the end of one. Pioneer looking to get their first goal passed and try and get it down to a 2-goal run. Canton would love to keep the pressure on and keep the goal runs going. 12 minutes up on the clock. Pioneer heads out onto the field on the offensive side. Friedman over there. Howdy Price and 18, who I will effort to get a number for. Paul McDonald on the near wing in midfield. Low in to take the draw. I believe that's Wolf on the other side. Sanders on the far wing. And still man up, so no Canton player over on the far wing. 12 minutes up on the clock, starting the second as that's grabbed by Lowe for Canton. Lowe, the face-off wing goes outside the hash marks on the far wing. Lowe heads down over the restraining line, outside the numbers. Lowe rumbling down as that's tipped back, has it still. Lowe on the far sideline, lifts it back as that's grabbed, heading towards the top of the restraining line. Now back into the midfield area is Schmoll. Schmoll waits for substitutions to come in. Schmoll moves it over on the near wing, gets that over to Salowich. Salowich back even with the goal. And that's fired back over to Salowich, top of the back into the midfield area. Moves that back over to Nielsen. Nielsen on the far hash marks. Nielsen calling out signals as man up situation over for Pioneer. Yavaiden has it, now moves it over onto the near wing. Racing back with it, Salowich. Salowich moves it back behind, over to Schmoll. Schmoll trying to come above the goal line extended. Schmoll now fires that back over as Amos with it. There's a shot, loose ball, trying to rake it up. Here comes Pioneer. Ball bounces and caught right out of midair. Good job back there by Nielsen. Nielsen over the restraining line on the numbers on the far wing. Flips that right back over to Amos. Amos about 5 yards outside. Now that moved by Yavaiden. Right back behind. Over to Schmoll. Schmoll goes on the far side. Back behind the goal line. Extended all the way back over to Nielsen. Right by the restraining line. Now back into the midfield area. Over to Amos. Amos flips that back. Now moved over on the near wing. Over to Yavaiden. Yavaiden fires it right back behind, coming in. Shot just misses the top right-hand corner, as that was Rockhart. Goes all the way out the far sideline. Closest to it is Canton. They will maintain possession with 10:13 left to go. Here in the second, 3-0. Canton with the lead. So they move it back over to Yavaiden. Yavaiden down the near wing, over to Salowich. Salowich sends it right back behind the goal line, extended. And trying to work his way over there. Schmoll. Schmoll gets it over and in. Schmoll starts off the scoring in the second. Canton goal, that at 9:55.
And goal number 4, Gabriel Schmoll. Again, 9:55 remaining in the second quarter.
4-0. Canton with the lead.
0, Canton 4.
Wolf comes out. Ready for the face-off. Ball set. They're back in position. Official gets away. That rake back is picking up there. Paul McDonald. Paul McDonald coming down the outside the far hash marks. Paul McDonald races down just outside the restraining line. Paul McDonald with the long pole moves it over to Friedman. Friedman moves it back into the midfield area. As that's pulled back over. Latch with it. Latch waits for substitutions to come on, and Sanders comes in. Latch gets it over to Yang. Yang between the hash marks, 5 yards outside of the restraining line, down to Audi Price. Audi Price back into underneath the goal line, extended. That moved back over to Friedman. Friedman over to Sanders. Sanders sends it into midfield area, back over to Latch. Latch, it's about 9 yards to work with back in that midfield area. Latch now races towards the restraining line. Latch into the offensive zone. Latch racing down the near hash marks. Latch sends it right back to Friedman. Friedman back behind the goal. Friedman fires it over to Sanders. Sanders gets between the hash marks. Sanders, and the ball just got slipped out of his cross as he was going for a big shot. As that's pulled up by Collige. Fired ahead. Canton has it, coming over midfield. Racing down just inside the numbers. And it's sent right back out over to Yavaiden. Nielsen with it in the midfield area. Nielsen just outside the hash mark, slips that back and then gets it back into the midfield area. Nielsen Racing down just outside the hash marks now on the numbers. Moves that right back over to Amos. Amos in the midfield area. Now over on the near wing to Deshina. Deshina coming in. Deshina moved over on the far wing. Shot there and a goal by Nielsen. Nielsen gets his first goal of the game. Fired from the far wing. That at 8 minutes. That is his first of the game. 5-0 Canton with the lead. Lowe versus Wolf in to take the face-off. And Paul McDonald and Yavaiden over on the near wing. Rez and Bosenko over on the far wing. Ball set for the face-off. Ball players get in position. There's the whistle, trying to get that rake back by Lowe. That slips right past Yavaiden. Yavaiden gets it before the restraining line, but a whistle. Illegal procedure. So they're trying to get everyone where they want them to be. So Canton ball. Yavaiden has Yavaiden over midfield, coming down just outside the hash marks. Yavaiden into the offensive zone. Yavaiden between the hash marks. Shot that tipped away. Excellent job by Houston. That ball just outside the near sideline. That will be Canton ball as they were closest to it. Solowich with it on the near wing. Solowich fires it right back behind. Over to Rockhart. Back behind the goal, trying to come ahead with it. Move. There's a shot. And knocked away is Solowich with a blast from the hash marks on the near wing. Canton closest to it. They will maintain possession as that's flipped over on the near wing to Solowich. Solowich comes all the way back into the midfield area. Solowich gets it back over to Amos. Amos moves it over on the far wing. Taking it back behind the goal line, extended that fire, trying to fire right over the top. That grab by Houston. Houston looking for a place to go with it. Houston. That deflected, but Houston gets it back. Houston moves it down on the near wing. That just over Conley, and that rolls as raking it up. Here comes Audi Price. Audi Price flips it back into the offensive zone, and that will go out the near sideline. That'll be Canton ball. 6:53 left to go here in the second. 5-0 Canton with the lead. Hodges brings it. Hodges will start it on the near sideline. There's the whistle. Hodges coming down the near sideline. Now they making sure everybody is right where they need to be. So they'll have Audi Price back, and now Hodges moves it over midfield. Flips that back over to Rockhart. Rockhart coming down just outside the hash marks. Now between the hash marks, right, the restraining line. That moved over to Amos. Amos down on the far wing. Controlling it back there is Nielsen. Nielsen fires it right back behind the goal. Now over on the near wing is Solowich. Solowich heads towards the top of the offensive zone. Solowich stops there. Now coming down on the near wing. Solowich just inside the numbers, flips that right back over. Grabbing him back there is Rockhart. Rockhart trying to spin in front, fires it and puts it in as that's his second goal. As that makes it 6-0 Canton with the goal, that at 6:17. So Rockhart, second goal of the game. 6-0 Canton with the lead. 6:17 left to go before halftime. Lowe in to take the draw. On the other side is Martin for Pioneer. Paul McDonald on the near wing. Joined there by Hornets. On the far wing is Sanders. With him is Bosenko. Ball set between the players. That's going to be an illegal procedure. Canton ball. Lowe has it. Lowe Moves it over down on the far wing, bringing it as Amos. Amos just over the restraining line into the offensive zone. Amos on the numbers on the far wing. Amos heading down towards the goal line. Extended Amos trying to get it in between over to Rockhart. That picked up Paul McDonald. With it. Fired ahead. Down now. Conley has it over on the far sideline. That back loose in the midfield area. Raked up by Amos. Amos has it just inside of midfield. Excuse me, that's Rockhart. Rockhart flips it over onto the far wing. That loose but raked up by Amos. Amos heads towards the top of the offensive zone on the far wing. Flip that back over to Rossoletti. But a whistle. Flag down. There's two flags back over on that far side. As Grieshaber takes a knee for Pioneer. Rockhart on the other side. So two players taking a knee on the penalty. 5:32 left to go here in the second. 6-0 Canton with the lead. There's the whistle, back set, moving over on the near wing. Yavaiden with it. Yavaiden flips that back over to Solowich. Solowich over to Amos. Amos racing down the hash marks. Amos bounce pass and puts it in. Amos with his second goal of the game. That at 5:22. 7-0. Canton with the lead. 5:22 left to go here in the second. Wolf comes back out for the face-off for Pioneer. Paul McDonald on the near wing. Low in to take the draw versus Wolf. Basenko over on the near wing for Canton. And Ress over on the far wing for Pioneer. That ball rolled back, racing back to get it. Rez trying to get it. Ball loose. Rez has it. Still on the ground. Popped it up. Rez has it but loses it. Gets it back. Rez coming down on the far numbers. That picked up. Coming in. Friedman down the far sideline into the offensive zone. He takes a check down on the ground. Two flags fly as trying to grab it. That pulled away back behind. Pioneer with it. Latch coming ahead between the hash marks into the offensive zone. Latch over to Friedman. He takes a heavy check. Ends up down on the ground again. There's another flag. I'm not sure if the officials have any more flags in their pocket at this point, as there's 3 on the field. They were going to have to start throwing their hats pretty quickly there. As it looks like going over low is going to take a knee. As the officials still talking things over, trying to make sure they get everything right. It is still early in the season for the officials as well, trying to get everything figured out. With 4:51 left to go here before halftime. 7-0 Canton with the lead. Pioneer would love to try and so now we have, you already had someone taking a knee for Canton, so now there's 3 folks on a knee over across the way. So Grieshaver still has a knee down. That's from earlier. So it looks like both Walker and Lowe over on the far wing taking a knee. Pioneer should be now 2 players up then. Pioneer still has the original penalty, the offsetting penalties then 2 more penalties on Canton. So that should be a 2-man up situation for Pioneer. Now the officials have to collect all their laundry on the field. We're about to get going. Good opportunity for the Pioneer offense to strike and try and dip into this Canton lead. Ball sent over. Price out. He has it on the far hash marks. Moves it back to Latch. Top of the offensive zone. Over to Sanders on the near wing. Sanders sends it even with the goal line extended. Now working his way over. That's flipped over. Back. Latch moves it over onto the far wing. Now Friedman with a shot and a score. Max Friedman, number 3, puts it in for Pioneer, and that makes it 7-1.
Pioneer goal by number 3, Max Friedman. 4:32 remaining in the second quarter.
So Pioneer
1, Canton 7.
Yeah, one of those penalties is going to expire because it was releasable. They still have the offsetting penalties.
Assist by number 10, Dakota Audi Price.
Audi Price gets the assist on the Pioneer goal by Friedman.
Audi Price to Friedman. 4:32.
So it was a 7-goal run by Canton. Pioneer able to cut into that and stop that goal run. They'd love to make a goal run of their own. Put a couple points together. Wolf and Lowe in to take the face-off. Bosenko on the near wing. Over on the far wing is Latch. As that raked all the way back, Bosenko has it. Just in the midfield area, Bosenko coming ahead with it for Canton over midfield. Bosenko right at the restraining line. Flips that back over to Schmoll. Schmoll, even with the goal on the far wing. Heads up towards the top of the offensive zone. That flipped back over. Down on the far side to McFarland, I believe. Brought in, grabbing it is Yavaiden. That ball back behind Schmoll, coming from the near side to the far side. Schmoll outside the hash marks on the far wing. Sent back top of the attack zone. Now brought in, running down with it is Nielsen. Nielsen down the hash marks. That shot goes wide out the near wing. Closest to it is Canton. They'll maintain possession. 3:44 left to go. On the near wing with it is Salowich. Salowich moves it out into the midfield area. That flipped back over by Yavaiden. Yavaiden gets it over to Amos. Amos fires it down on the far wing. Sent right back behind over to McFarland. McFarland underneath the goal line, extended on the far wing. Moves it back. Top of the offensive zone for Nielsen. Nielsen over to Amos. Amos between the hash marks at the offensive, at the restraining line. Moves it over on the far wing over to Nielsen. Nielsen on the far sideline. Back behind the goal, trying to work their way. Canton feeds it. That moves it over to Salowich. Salowich back, top of the offensive zone. Over to Amos between the hash marks in the midfield area. Amos moves it over to Nielsen. Nielsen comes back into the midfield area. Nielsen on the far hash marks. Flips that back over to Yavaiden. Yavaiden. Now Salowich has it knocked away. Right back into the midfield area. That plucked up by Nielsen. Nielsen. Down the hash mark, right the restraining line on the near wing. Moves it over to Yavaiden. Yavaiden moves it back. Now racing down with it is Salowich. Salowich gets it back over to Yavaiden in the midfield area. Now on the far wing. Moved back over by Nielsen. Amos sends it back behind the goal. Controlled there. As Small coming from the far side to the near side. Small trying to get over the goal line extended. Small, heavy pressure there by Paul McDonald. Paul McDonald trying to get to it. There's a flag, and that is going to be a penalty at 2:09 left to go here before halftime. 7-1, Canton with the lead. So Conley's going to take a knee. Pioneer will be man down. As they trade sticks, make sure they have enough long poles out there. Canton man up with 2 minutes, 9 seconds left to go. 7-1, Canton with the lead. That move back, top of the restraining, top of the offensive zone, over to Yavaiden. Yavaiden over on the far wing. That's sent right back behind as that's moved over to by Solowich. Now back over to Yavaiden, top of the offensive zone. Yavaiden flips that back over to Solowich, over on the far wing, sent right back behind, plucked up there by Amos, trying to fire it ahead. That ball shot, and closest to it is Pioneers, so Pioneer will have it. 1 minute, 43 seconds left to go. As Houston has it back behind his own goal. Houston looking for a place for pressure coming from Canton. Houston fires a Hail Mary all the way down, and that will be tipped away, coming back the other direction. Bosenko gets into the offensive zone. Bosenko fires it over to Schmoll. Schmoll back right even with the goal on the far wing. Schmoll trying to fire it out in front. There's a shot and a goal, as that's Rockhart with the goal. That will be a hat trick for Rockhart, as that is his third goal. Then at 1 minute, 20 seconds. 8-1, Canton with the lead. 7-goal lead by Canton. More on the far wing as in to take the draw. It's Lowe versus Martin. Martin trying to pull that over. Martin trying to get to it. That ball loose. Plucked up, coming the other direction with it is Oberliesen. Oberliesen launches it right into the offensive zone, but that pulled away by Paul McDonald. Paul McDonald gets it over to Houston. Houston just in his crease. Houston moves it over on the near wing, over to Grieshaver. Grieshaver coming down the near sideline. Grieshaver spins with it. Grieshaver, 2 players in front of him. Grieshaver, that tip back right at midfield, plucked up there by Solowich. Solowich coming down the near sideline. 48 seconds left to go. So whistle blown. It's like a timeout call by Canton. They want to talk things over. How about a little push on and try and keep you fired up? Keep Pioneer fired up. Keep everybody fired up. Eight seconds left to go before halftime. It is 8-1, Canton with the lead. They took the timeout. They have the ball in their own offensive zone. Again, the JV game before this, it was Pioneer 9 and Canton 4. So JV won that contest. Congratulations to them. Pioneer Varsity trying to turn the tides of this game. They got their first goal to stop a 7-goal run by Canton, but Canton able to start a new goal run of their own right after that. Pioneer would love to keep Canton from getting another score, get to halftime, make some adjustments, and see if they can't make this game a bit more difficult and make a big comeback. Solowich has it on the near sideline. It's in the midfield area, about 10 yards outside of the offensive zone. Solowich, there's the whistle. Solowich coming down for Canton. Moves it over on that near wing, flips that back over to Yavaiden. Yavaiden comes back right at the restraining line, back into the midfield area, moves it over to Nielsen. Nielsen puts it down on that far wing, right back behind the goal, trying to bring it ahead with it. Flip back over to Amos. Amos just steps back into the midfield area, moves it over to Yavaiden. Yavaiden down over on the near wing. Solowich trying to get to it. Solowich comes in, shot. Good save by Houston. Ball loose, plucked up as here comes Paul McDonald. Paul McDonald racing ahead with it. Paul McDonald flips that over. Pioneer into the offensive zone as Friedman has it. Friedman loses the ball. 2 seconds, 1 second, and that will do it at the end of The first half, it is 8-1, Canton with the lead. We're going to play a few messages from the MHSA. We'll be back, and we'll have your second half coming up shortly. You're watching Pioneer Varsity Lacrosse, brought to you by Arbor Broadcasting.
Sportsmanship has never been more important between the lines in athletics and outside those lines in our communities. To listen, to respect, to understand, to practice common decency, to have competition without contentiousness. Sportsmanlike qualities are essential components of life itself. Let's all work together to not only be good sports, but good people. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Have we gotten to the point where at some high school game that an official has finally had enough from coaches, players, and adults, pulls off the whistle, and offers it to you? Let's hope not. There's no way you could do a better job. It's on everyone to promote good sportsmanship. So before you blurt something out about that next close call, consider this. Without the officials, nobody wins. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Nearly 2,000 of the state's top student athletes will be recognized for excelling academically and in school activities through the MHSAA's Scholar Athlete Award, underwritten by Farm Bureau Insurance. The applicants will be in the running for a total of 32 $1,000 college scholarships. Application materials are available exclusively online through the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Health concerns in high school sports go beyond physical injuries. The mental well-being of our young people is a hotter topic than ever before. The Michigan High School Athletic Association website has resources to help adults and students recognize potential problems and deal with them in a positive way. You can learn more about these mental health resources on the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. A message from the MHSAA promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Can you go anywhere and find an endeavor in society where we've come to accept and tolerate an adult, and even kids, treating another adult the way we allow spectators, coaches, and players to treat a high school game official? Can you? No one has the right to abuse game officials. So before you blurt something out about that next close call, consider this. Without the officials, nobody wins. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Here are 5 more good reasons for multi-sport participation. Multi-sport athletes are more coachable. They have higher athletic ceilings. They become better talent in the long run. They have higher sports IQs. Their sport skills transfer, and they are better teammates. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Here are 5 good reasons for high school multi-sport participation. Fewer overuse injuries, less opportunity for emotional burnout, exposure to different kids and coaches, exposure to different roles, and learning to compete better. Being a multi-sport participant can help a kid become a more well-rounded person. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Where can you find good information on all kinds of topics related to the well-being of our student athletes? Check out the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. Learn about multi-sport participation, heat and hydration, cardiovascular resources, as well as insurance benefits available for our students. It's all on the Health and Safety page of MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
The love of the game draws us to sports, as players, coaches, spectators, and officials. For officials, it's a way to stay in the game they once played, to feel the thrill of putting on the uniform, stepping out of the playing surface, hustling to make the call, and building the relationships which can only be built in sports. If you still have that love for the game, we always need new officials. Register now at MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
We do want to thank all the wonderful, amazing sponsors of Pioneer Men's Lacrosse. That includes platinum sponsors Edward and Schaefer Orthodontics, Franklin Templeton, Gago Center for Fertility, Gago Specialty Eye Institute, Ganger Dermatology, Germain Honda, Grease Shaver Dentistry, Nothing Bundt Cakes, Venue, Winsler's Gear. Gold sponsors includes Anderson Paint, Ann Arbor Made, Charles and Marion Klassen, Cochin 4, First Martin Real Estate, Gordon Hamilton Building and Design, Ingersoll Rand, Jen Rosenberg Consulting, Knights Southside, Linda Forrester Realty, PLG Blue Jays, Ron's Garage, Ceci Mazda, State and Liberty Clothing, Underground Printing, and Allergy and Immunology Associates of Ann Arbor. Silver sponsors include Adam Eichner Realty, Deb Odom Stern Real Estate, Lewis Jewelers, Orange Theory, York, and the Marley family. We want to thank all those wonderful folks who help sponsor Pioneer Lacrosse. Please help support those who help support the team. We'll play a little music and we'll be right back. About 4 minutes, 20 seconds left till the start of the second half. As we are coming right out of halftime, 8-1 Pioneer, down 7 to Canton. This Pioneer will look for a big comeback here in the second half. Both squads gathered around the far sideline, getting last moment instructions from their coaching staff. The officials right at midfield. We're about to get underway for the second half. If the goal differential does get to a 12-goal differential, it will move to a running clock that will only stop for timeouts and injury timeouts. Pioneer hoping that that won't happen, but just want to make sure everybody is aware. Canton heads out onto the field. Here comes Pioneer. Pioneer will be going from right to left here in this third quarter. Kalaje gets set up to our left. Houston to our right. Lowe versus Wolf in to take the face-off. Sanders on the near wing with Bosenko. On the far wing is Paul McDonald. Joined over there, as that'll be a whistle. And that is going to be Canton with the ball. Canton brings ahead low. Now flips that over to Schmoll. Schmoll right over into the offensive zone. Schmoll running down, goes underneath the goal line extended. Schmoll stops there. Schmoll fires it over onto the far wing. Is trying to bring it up there is Salowich. Salowich moves it back into the midfield area. Over to Nielsen. Nielsen puts it right between the hash marks. Over to Amos. Now back to Nielsen on the far hash marks. Nielsen in that midfield area. Nielsen. Now going from the far side to the near side. Sanders watching him there. Now substitution as Lowe runs off. Amos has it on the near wing, about 5 yards over the goal line extended. As that brings in Yavaiden. And that fired over to Yavaiden between the hash marks in the midfield area. Yavaiden over to Salowich. Salowich back top of the offensive zone. Over to Yavaiden in the midfield area. Yavaiden getting a running start over the restraining line. Yavaiden trying to come down and loses the ball. Trying to get to it is Grieshaver. Grieshaver battling for the ground ball as that's raked up. Spinning with it. Pioneer. Wolf has it. Wolf trying to avoid pressure from 3 different Canton players. Wolf on the far sideline. And that is going to go out and over to Canton. Right in the midfield area, over to Yavaiden. Yavaiden steps over the restraining line. Now back into the midfield area, over to Nielsen. Nielsen, top of the offensive zone on the near hash marks. Nielsen racing down, now moves it. There's a shot by Amos. That will go just wide. Closest to it was Schmoll. So that will stay with Canton. 10:27 left to go. Here in the third, 7-goal lead by Canton. Pioneer has it. As that's flipped over, grabbing it, Grieshaber fires it over to Houston. Houston moving it back over to Sanders. Sanders has it over midfield. Sanders runs it ahead as Audie Price. The ball slips out of the cross. Now again a ground ball raked up there by Bosenko. Bosenko rolls it back over. Grabbed and moved now over on the near wing. And picked up. Canton brings it ahead as that's fired ahead over by Kalaje. Loose right at midfield, trying to get it. Audie Price has it. That pulled down. Now here comes Amos down the near hash marks. Amos into the offensive zone. Amos trying to float it over. Good defensive play by Conley to knock it away. Ball back over into the far corner, racing over to get it. As that's picked up by Salowich. Salowich moves it over top of the offensive zone. Now that back into midfield area over to Nielsen. Nielsen steps over the restraining line. Nielsen with a shot that goes wide. Closest to it is Small. Small has it in along the end line. 9:16 left to go here in the third. 8-1. Canton with the lead. They float it back to the restraining line. With it there, spinning with it is Rossoletti. Moved, ground ball, that picked up. Here comes Paul McDonald. Paul McDonald moves it ahead. That ball rolls right to the restraining line for Pioneer. Flipped ground ball. That raked up. Over on the far wing is Audi Price trying to get it between the hash marks as that will roll into the crease, and that's plucked up there by Kalege. Coming ahead with it over his own restraining line. Flips that right to midfield. Racing ahead with it is Padaraki. Padaraki steps over, now flips that over to Russoletti. Russoletti. There's a shot. Save. Excellent job. Great job by Houston to pluck that away. And now coming ahead with it. Moves it over on the near wing. That flipped over. Grabbed. Now coming ahead with it is Rez. Rez goes over midfield. Rez down the near sideline. Rez tightrope walking. That poked out of his cross and goes out the near sideline. That is going to be Canton ball with 8:03 left to go here. 8-1 Canton with the lead. Substitutions coming on as they'll say that that's actually Pioneer ball. So Audi Price with it. Last touch by Canton as they were. Oh, sorry. There is a penalty there, so Rockhart taking a knee. Pioneer man up. Coming ahead with Latch. Latch flips it over onto the far wing as Yang sends it even with the goal. Now back behind. Over to Friedman, over on the far wing. Coming up, that flipped back over to Latch. Latch trying to feed it out in front. Coming in, Friedman with that shot. Good save. Running it out was Paul McDonald, keeping the ball in Pioneer's possession. Paul McDonald over to Friedman. Friedman races, fires it above the goal line extended. Now over to Audi Price. Audi Price back into the midfield area. Over to Latch. Latch moves over to Yang. Yang fires it. That over on the far wing. And flipped back over to Latch. Right at the restraining line. Over on the near wing. Audi Price. Gets it back over to Latch. Latch firing it. Sanders with it. That flipped away. Sanders gets it even with the goal on the near wing. Sanders gets it over to Audi Price. Audi Price just inside of the hash marks. Over to Latch. Latch over to Yang. Yang moves it over on the far wing. That back top of the restraining zone. Now back over to Latch. Thought about it. Now coming in. Latch trying to get a shot. That blocked away. Loose ball. Firing it in as Friedman. As that knocked away and save. Excellent opportunity by Friedman. But an amazing save by Canton. That loose ball in the right in the midfield area. That plucked up, coming ahead with it down the far side. Canton flips it, moves it ahead. That ball loose, coming over. Hodges has it. Hodges back in the midfield area. Hodges fires it over. Coming down that far side is Rockhart. Rockhart trying to get between the hash marks. Rockhart with a bounce shot and puts it in. Fourth goal of the game for Rockhart. And at 6:31. 9-1, 8-goal lead by Canton with 6:31 left to go here in the third. Low in to take the draw. Martin on the other side. On the near wing is Moore. He's over there with Basenko. Paul McDonald on the far wing. Joined over there by Ticina. Here's the face-off, trying to rake that away. Low comes away with it. Low rumbling down the near hash marks, down the near numbers. Low into the offensive zone. Low now comes and moves it back right at the restraining line over to Schmoll. Schmoll flips that over onto the far wing, over for Ticina. Ticina gets it back. Between the hash marks, Ticina spins with it. Ticina flips that over onto the far wing, over to Amos. Amos moves over the restraining line. Amos flips that over. Now Hodges with it. Excuse me, that's Padaraki. Coming in, shot there, got deflected as DeCina's shot. Loose ball, picking up Conley. Conley has it. Conley coming down on the far numbers. Conley trying to fire it ahead. That ball loose. Still a ground ball. Pulled up, and Paul McDonald trying to get to it. Still raking away at it. That comes back. And that's collected. Here comes Canton. There's a shot. Good save by Houston. Knocked down, ground ball. That pulled up is coming ahead with it is Martin. Martin moves it over onto the near wing. As that's trying to rake it up back over there was Moore. Canton with the ball. Canton comes over as DeCina has it. Now moves it back behind. Over to Small. Small going from the near side over to the far side. Small trying to work his way around the crease. Small spins with it, trying to get free. Small now underneath the goal line, extended on the far wing. That moved back over to Carroll. Carroll back top of the offensive zone. Amos with it in the midfield area, moves it over and then gets it back as he moved it over to DeCina. Now Amos down the near hash marks. Amos spins with it, and there is going to be an illegal screen. That's going to be Pioneers ball, 5:19. 9-1, Canton with the lead. Here comes Friedman over midfield. Friedman races down into the offensive zone on the numbers on the near wing. Friedman moves that to an oncoming Latch. Latch between the hash marks, about 4 yards outside of the offensive zone. Latch moves it over on the far wing, over to Martin. Martin feeds it back behind to Friedman. Friedman underneath the goal line, extended. Friedman on the hash marks on the near wing. Over to Sanders. That moves back and rolls into the midfield area. Latch gets it there. Latch comes between the hash marks. Latch heading over onto the far hash marks. Running start over the restraining line. Latch coming in. Sidearm shot. That save again. Boy, really good game so far by Kalaje, the keeper for Canton, as that's fired over on the far side, trying to bring it ahead. I believe that was low. Rolled down. Here comes Friedman. Friedman into the offensive zone. Friedman on the far wing over to Sanders. Sanders with a shot. And again, an amazing save on a really good shot as Kalaje really putting on a clinic in that crease. And moved ahead, coming ahead with it is Small. Small racing down the near hash marks in the offensive zone. Small moves it over to the far side. Shot that off of the crossbar. Conley sends it ahead. Here comes Sanders. Sanders racing into the offensive zone. Sanders gets it. Shot. Oh, another save. As point blank, Pioneer was right there. And another great save by the Canton keeper. Canton with the ball, firing it all the way ahead. That ball down, racing over to get it. Paul McDonald, that picked away by Rockhart. Now Rockhart moves it over. Sidearm shot. That got blocked. Picked up. Pioneer has it coming down the near wing. Grieshaver with it. Grieshaver spins with it. Grieshaver moves it ahead into the midfield area. Coming. Here comes Latch. Latch has it on the near wing. Latch down the numbers into the offensive zone. Latch stops there. Back on the restraining line. Flips that over to Yang. Yang between the hash marks. Yang moves it over to Miller, who just came in. Miller coming down just outside the numbers on the far wing. Miller fires it underneath the goal line, extended over to Friedman. Friedman over on the near wing to Latch. Latch on the numbers, about 10 yards above the goal line, extended back into the midfield area to Yang. Yang moving over onto the far wing. Yang running start over the restraining line, coming down on the far hash marks. Yang trying to come in. Yang flips it all the way over onto the near wing, just a little high for Friedman. Those two played on the Pioneer hockey team together this winter. A little difference in a lacrosse pass than a hockey pass, though. Moved ahead. Canton brings it ahead as here comes Amos. Amos over midfield. 2:22 left to go. Amos over the restraining line. 9-1. Canton with the lead. Now even with the goal over on the near wing. As that's Small with it. Small moves it back to Amos. Amos back into the midfield area for Nielsen. Nielsen over the restraining line. Nielsen flips it back over to Amos. Amos just inside the restraining line. There's a shot. As that was a wicked sidearm shot from Hodges. Run out by Canton, so they maintain possession with 2 minutes left to go here in the third. Grabbing it, McFarland over on the far wing, just over the goal line extended, flips that back over to Carroll. Carroll. Now, right at the restraining line, Carroll. On the far hash marks, taking his time. Carroll moves it over on the far wing. Now racing down with it is McFarland. McFarland goes underneath the goal line, extended McFarland. Oh, that one just a little high for Schmoll. That'll be Pioneer ball. 1:36 left to go here in the third. That ball launched ahead. Coming ahead with it is Rez. Rez gets out of his defensive zone. Rez over midfield, over to Latch. Latch heads over the restraining line, into the offensive zone, down the near wing. Latch fires it back into the midfield area, over to Yang. Yang gets about 10 yards outside of the offensive zone. Yang now moves it over to Miller. Miller on the numbers into... Oh, there's an equipment issue. I believe one of the players lost a shoe there. Now, bringing it ahead. Miller coming down the far wing. Miller fires it back behind, over to Friedman. Friedman working his way from the far side to the other side, underneath the goal line extended. Friedman gets over to Latch on the near wing. Latch trying to work his way between the hash marks. Latch now coming in, sidearm shot that just goes wide. Friedman closest to it. That will maintain Pioneer possession with 54 seconds left to go here in the third. Now Yang, even with the goal on the near wing, heads towards the top of the offensive zone, over to Latch. Latch moves it over on the far wing, over to Miller. Miller racing down. Miller fires it back behind to Friedman. Friedman directly behind the goal, comes over on the near side. Yang, even with the goal on the near wing. Yang now gets it back right at the restraining line to Latch. Latch between the hash marks. Latch now steps back, top of the offensive zone. Latch over to Yang, just in the midfield area. Yang looks over to his left. Flips it over to Audi Price. Audi Price coming down the numbers on the near wing. Over to Friedman. Friedman comes above the goal line extended. Now back. Moves it over to Audi Friedman. 16 seconds left to go here in the third. Yang racing ahead with it. Yang between the hash marks. 10 seconds left to go in the third. Yang moving it over to Latch. Latch trying to come down the far wing. Latch trying to make his way. Trying to fire it out in front. That ball loose on the near wing. 1 second left to go. That will do it for the third. As at the end of 3, it is 9-1. Pioneer holding Canton to a single goal in that period. As we will be right back for the fourth quarter. You're watching Pioneer Men's Varsity Lacrosse, brought to you by Arbor Broadcasting.
Can you go anywhere and find an endeavor in society where we've come to accept and tolerate an adult, and even kids, treating another adult the way we allow spectators, coaches, and players to treat a high school game official? Can you? No one has the right to abuse game officials. So before you blurt something out about that next close call, consider this. Without the officials, nobody wins. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Health concerns in high school sports go beyond physical injuries. The mental well-being of our young people is a hotter topic than ever before. The Michigan High School Athletic Association website has resources to help adults and students recognize potential problems and deal with them in a positive way. You can learn more about these mental health resources on the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. A message from the MHSAA, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
As we head into the fourth, 9-1, Canton with the lead. Pioneer looking to make a big comeback here. Wolf in to take the face-off versus Lowe. At the blockade, says ball loose. Lowe trying to get it, but that's raked up Paul McDonald, and that is going to be Pioneer's ball. As bringing it ahead Here comes Pioneers. Sanders over over the restraining line. Sanders firing it, trying to get it over, as that will be Canton ball, as that on a pass, not a shot, so doesn't matter who was closest to it. If it's a pass, it goes over to the opposing team. 11:41 left to go. Canton controls back in their own defensive zone, as bringing it ahead is Weller. That ball loose. Here comes Sanders. Sanders coming in. Sanders moves it over. There's a sidearm shot. And frustration by Audi Price is he took a good shot, but that goes out the end line. Kalage has been really, really good for Canton between the pipes. Now stolen away. Here comes Pioneer as Audi Price coming down the hash marks. Down into the offensive zone, even with the goal on the near wing. Audi Price heads back towards the top of the offensive zone. Audi Price flips that. Ooh, that loose and plucked up by Canton. Coming ahead with it. Here comes Weller. Weller. Over on the far wing is Bosemko. Bosemko gets it ahead to Schmoll. Schmoll racing down the far sideline, over the restraining line, into the offensive zone. Schmoll coming in, flips it over on the near side, and that into McFarland, who gets the goal. And that was just really good ball movement by Canton to get their 10th goal of the game. That at 10:54.
Number 15, Jacob McFarland, first of the game. At 10:54 remaining in the fourth quarter. Scores Pioneer
10-1, 9-goal differential here for Canton.
10:54.
Ball set. Low in there to take the draw. Wolf on the other side. So that's Porsche on the far wing for Pioneer. On the near wing is Paul McDonald. He's joined over there by Oberliesen. Ball set, trying to rake it up. That heads back towards the Pioneer offensive zone. Ground ball. Wolf looked like he had it. That knocked back now. Here comes Paul McDonald. Paul McDonald over on the numbers on the far wing into the offensive zone. Paul McDonald now heads towards the top of the offensive zone. It's not easy using one of those long poles in the offensive zone. That bounce pass over to Audi Price. Audi Price down, even with the goal. Now going under. Pioneer controls. That flipped over to Friedman. Friedman moves it back over on the far wing to Sanders. Sanders, top of the offensive zone. Now that moved over to Latch. Latch over on the near wing to Audi Price. Audi Price. Now flip back, moving in. Latch spins and fires it in. Pioneer goal. And at 10:07.
Pioneer goal by number 12, sophomore Jet Lack.
As that was a pretty goal to cut the lead back to 8.
Scores Pioneer 2, Canton 10. Lack, 10:07.
So it's an 8-goal game now. Wolf and Lowe set to take the draw. Moore on the near wing, joined over there by DeCina. Paul McDonald on the far wing. That ball loose, popped back. Lowe racing over to get it. Lowe has it. Lowe coming down the numbers on the far wing, over midfield. Lowe takes a few checks, trying to get back into the offensive zone. Lowe coming down the numbers. Lowe trying to get between the hash marks. Lowe with a shot, and that off the crossbar, deflected back and in, as that is a goal by Lowe. That's his first goal of the game.
Goal for number 3, Jake Love, his first of the game.
And at 9:50, right back to a 9-goal lead by Canton, 11-2, with 9:50 left to go. Now in to take the face-off is Martin. On the other side is, wait a second. No, that was 6. Sorry. Yavaiden with it. Blitzek, I thought that was 16, the goalkeeper. Knocked down, trying to get it. Paul McDonald moves it over into the midfield area, racing down on the far sideline as Martin trying to get it. That raked up, but whistle, and I believe it went out of bounds. That is going to be Pioneers ball. Moved all the way back to Houston. Houston has it in his own crease. Houston coming ahead with it. Houston. That launched ahead. Conley has it. There's a yard sale. It's across on the ground. Coming ahead down the near wing is Latch. Latch moving down the near sideline into the offensive zone. Latch stops there. Flips that back. Top of the offensive zone. Over to Price Audi. Price Audi gets it over to Yang. Yang comes over on the near hash marks. Yang flips that back over to Latch. Latch outside the numbers on the near wing. Moves it back underneath the goal line extended. And flipped over to Friedman. Friedman just even with the goal on the far wing. Back over to Sanders. Sanders back into the midfield area. As Audi Price has it. Audi Price coming down between the hash marks. Audi Price sidearm shot that just goes wide to the far side. Friedman closest to it. That should stay Pioneer ball with 8:47 left to go here in the fourth. 11-2, Canton with the lead. Pioneer controls. Sanders has it. Ground ball. Sanders rakes it up, flips that back over into the midfield area to Yang. Yang over to Latch. Latch, 10 yards buffer into the offensive zone. Now coming down on the near wing. Pioneer underneath the goal line extended, going from the near side to the far side. Now racing ahead. That flip back over to Friedman. Friedman trying to get to it. Ground ball. Friedman trying to rake it up. Still loose. Friedman has it coming down the far end line. Friedman from the near side to the far side. Friedman fires it out in front, trying to get it to Sanders. That tipped away. Beautiful, beautiful play, but Canton able to get across in the way. Flipped over on the far wing, Yang. Yang moves it over to Sanders. Sanders, about 10 yards inside the offensive zone now, gets a good screen, cuts between the hash marks. Sanders trying to get between players, fires it and puts it in. Sanders with a goal at 7:58.
Pioneer goal by number 25, Ben Sanders. At 7:58 remaining in the fourth quarter.
So Pioneers stops another goal run by Canton, and we're now going back and forth. Canton scored first and the second. Pioneer answered back. Canton again scored. Now Pioneer answered back, 11-3. As it's back to an 8-goal differential between these two teams. Face off right at center. Martin in there taking the face off, trying to pull that away, that back, but picked up. Coming ahead with it, Canton has it. As they move it ahead, as that's Yaver into the offensive zone. Yaver between the hash marks. Yaver going outside the far hash marks. Yaver loses the ball. That raked up by Martin. Martin. But there is a flag back down. That is going to be a penalty. Looks like it's going to be on Pioneer. That's going to be a slash.
Slashing, number 24, Matt Martin.
So Martin for Pioneer takes a knee. Canton goes man up. 7:38 left to go here. That ball will be just behind the goal line, extended on the far wing. As Schmoll will start it off there. Schmoll. Now comes back behind the goal. Schmoll moves it over onto the near wing now. And flipped over to Rockhart. Back behind. Yaviden has it. Viden. No, back over to Schmoll. Schmoll trying to go above the goal line extended. Then flip back over to Rockhart. Rockhart just inside the restraining line. Over to Schmoll. Shot there. And a goal by Schmoll. Second of the game for Schmoll. That at 7:15. 12-3. Canton again answers back. So we're going back and forth in this fourth period, trading goals. Wolf in to take the face-off versus Amos. Coming ahead with it, there's Wolf. Wolf with the face-off. Wolf races ahead over the restraining line, now steps back. Moves it over to Latch on the numbers on the near wing. Latch gets it over to Audi Price. Now back to Latch between the hash marks. Latch He steps back into the midfield area, now over on the near wing, over to Audi Price. Audi Price rakes it up. Rakes it up again, coming outside the numbers. Moves that back. Underneath the goal line, extended. Moved out in front. Audi Price with a shot that got blocked. Loose in the crease, and that raked up. Canton with it. 6:37 left to go here in the fourth. That ball launched ahead. Latch trying to intercept it, but that grab still loose right at midfield. Coming ahead with it down the near wing. Here comes Pioneer. Into the offensive zone. Latch with it. Latch trying to race towards the goal. Shot and puts it in the upper right-hand corner. And Latch again back and forth. These two teams go. Pioneer able to answer back. Latch with his second goal of the game. So 12-4, back to an 8-goal lead. 6:18 left to go. Face off. Right at center. Amos again in to take the face off. Wolf rakes it back, trying to grab it, still loose. Wolf gets it. Wolf bringing it ahead. Wolf trying to fire it as that will roll into the offensive zone. Raked up there. Pioneer has it on the far wing as Friedman with it just outside the numbers. Friedman now moves it back behind the goal line extended. Firing it back. That rolls into the midfield area, trying to get it before it goes over midfield. That picked up on the near wing by Martin, and that ball loose. Here comes Canton the other direction. Canton over midfield, bringing it ahead is DeCina moves it right at the restraining line is low. Low flips that. That went off of Carroll's cross. That'll go out the end line. Pioneers ball. 5:32 left to go. Pioneer launches it ahead. Here comes over midfield, coming down. Latch with it. Latch going even with the goal. Audi Price with it. Audi Price comes on the numbers on the near wing. Now back behind the goal line extended. Audi Price going from the near side to the far side. Audi Price grabbed on the far wing, back over. Audi Price above the goal line extended. Flipped over, grabbing it is Friedman. Friedman over to Latch in the midfield area. Latch steps back. 5:05 left to go here in the fourth. 12-4, Canton with the lead. Latch running start, gets over the restraining line. Latch fakes the pass. Now sidearm shot. That great save again. As Canton with the ball, moving it ahead. That ground ball loose, trying to rake it up. Canton gets it. Bounces again on the ground. Now racing ahead with it. Here comes Canton as rolling on through as that's fired ahead by Willman. Ball loose. Now Conley has it. Conley over his own restraining line, coming down the numbers on the far wing. That knocked away from him. Low with it. Low and Conley battling on that far sideline. As into the offensive zone. Low with it. Low trying to get his second goal. And that off the back of the goal. So no goal as that got caught in the netting back behind. Bringing it ahead. Here comes Pioneer as Houston gets over midfield. Houston coming down all the way. Houston over the restraining line trying to come in. Houston with a shot. That one just goes wide. And out. I don't think I've seen a Pioneer netminder get that much offensive since Roberts. Used to occasionally come down and try and help out the team offensively as well. 3:47 left to go here in the fourth. 12-4. Canton with the lead. They have the ball. As trying to come down the far wing with it. Canton over midfield. Into the offensive zone. That ball slips out from Sidhu. As here comes Pioneer the other direction. Over midfield, racing ahead with it is Latch. Latch fires it as that ball loose. Raked up on the near wing by Audi Price. As a sidearm shot, that was Audi Price with the sidearm shot. And that's a goal by Pioneer. They now have a 2-goal run.
Goal by number 10, Dakota Audi Price. At 3:19 remaining in the fourth quarter. Score is Pioneer 5, Canton 12. Audie Price at 319.
So Audie Price gets his first goal of the game. Pioneer has it down to a 7-goal lead now by Canton with 3:19 left to go. Martin in to take the draw, or the face-off. Amos on the other side. Rez and Oberliesen on the near wing. Battle for popped up by Martin. Martin trying to get it. Still ground ball loose. Now racing over Rez. Rakes it up. Rez. Down. Coming down the far sideline. That lost and coming ahead with it. Canton has it. Canton right between the hash marks. That shot by Carroll. That's going to be Pioneer ball. So they were able to get closest to it. Pioneer will bring it ahead to 58 left to go. Here in the fourth. 7-goal lead as Houston brings it ahead over his own restraining line into the midfield area. Houston gets it over to Conley. Conley on the near wing. Conley avoids some pressure. Conley flips that back over now. Latch goes over midfield. Latch coming down just outside the hash marks on the near wing. Gets that over to Audie Price. Audie Price gets it back over to Latch. Latch between the hash marks. Latch spins with it. Latch trying to get as he's walled off. That ball rolls over onto the far side. That is going to be a penalty, delayed penalty upcoming to Canton as that's flipped over. Now back, Pioneer moving it right back behind to Friedman. Friedman fires it out in front. Latch with it between the hash marks on the near hash marks. Now Latch moves it back behind by Friedman underneath the goal line extended. Friedman gets a good screen coming above the goal line extended on the far wing. Shot there, got knocked down. Picked up by Pioneer, now moved over to Friedman. Friedman trying to flip it back as he tries a swim move. He ends up down on the turf.
Penalty flag is on the field.
1 minute 56 seconds left to go. Pair of penalty flags out there. Officials talking things over. See who ends up taking a knee over there. As over there is Stanchia taking the knee.
Penalties on can number 11, Cole Stanchina.
1 minute 56 seconds left. Pioneer trying to keep some momentum, see if they can keep the momentum, build it when they play Skyline in 2 days on Friday. Yang moves it over just above the goal line, extended on the near wing. Now between the hash marks, that flip back. Latch moves it over onto the far wing. Now between the hash marks, Audie Price gets it. Now Yang moves it over onto the far wing. Audie Price right at the restraining line. Flips that back over to Latch. Latch on the far hash mark spinning. That ball, ground ball. Sanders trying to get to it. There's a scrum forward as that rolls all the way towards midfield. That will go out the near sideline. 1 minute 20 seconds left to go. Hope the official saw who touched it last because there was about 5 players with the crosses in the mix. Is trying to figure out. Lowe looks like he's going to start it on the near sideline with 1 minute 20 seconds left to go. Lowe. Now stutter steps out inside the numbers. Lowe racing down between the hash marks into the offensive zone. Lowe. As Lowe battling with Grieshaver. And ball loose. And there's another push right in the middle. So that's going to be a push ball over to Pioneer. Racing all the way to it. That just overlatch. And ball moved over. 1 minute left in the fourth. Now coming ahead. Latch goes underneath the goal line, extended on the near wing. 50 seconds left. And fired. Audie Price with a shot and a goal. Second goal by Audie Price. That at 48 seconds.
Pioneer goal by number 10, Dakota Audie Price, his second of the game, at 48 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter.
Pioneer has a 3-goal run going. They get it down to a 6-goal lead by Canton And they probably can't come all the way back in 48 seconds, but this is good momentum to take into that next game, build and get that going. Lowen to take the face-off versus Martin with 48 seconds left. Battle for it, that moved back. Plucked up there by Yaver. Yaver racing ahead with it. Yaver takes a check, holds on to it. Yaver down on the numbers. Now flips it all the way down. Canton goes underneath the goal line extended now, moving it back to Yaver. Top of the offensive zone. Excuse me, that's Amos. Amos. Down the numbers. Amos flips that right back behind over on the near wing. Moved back over to Hodges. Hodges back underneath to Carroll. Carroll directly behind the goal. 13 seconds left. Carroll trying to work his way around the crease. Gets it back over to Hodges. Hodges coming in. Shot. Good save by Houston. That will go out the far sideline. 4 seconds left here in the fourth. 12-6. Canton with the lead. Pioneer trying to stop Canton from getting a last-second goal. And that will do it. So Canton wins. Canton 12 and Pioneer 6. We will be back tomorrow with Pioneer Women's Lacrosse as they have a game at 7 o'clock. Then Pioneer Men's Lacrosse will play here versus Skyline. That will be a 6 o'clock game on Friday. We barring any issues, plan to have that for you as well. I want to thank my cameraman, James Wiseman. My name is Mark Wiseman. Thank you very, very much, and have a fantastic rest of your evening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.